I'm Lisa Gray, Executive Director with the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce. And I'm here today with Trish Thomas, who is the owner of Edge Career Solutions. And Trish is our August featured member of the month. Thank you for joining us today, Trish. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and thank you for having me here, Lisa.
Thank you. So what is Edge Career Solutions?
I help people find jobs that they love. I do everything from helping them clarify their career goal all the way through the job search process, through accepting the job offer. So what I try to do is I help them develop the tools, the strategies, and the confidence that they can achieve whatever their goals may be.
And you recently made some big changes in your company, so tell us about that.
Yes, I did. I had been operating as the resume resource for about 6 years because when I first started, I really only did resumes and cover letters. But then as the job seekers' needs changed, I responded and added additional services over the years. So now that I do everything from helping with the clarification of the goals, providing them the support through the job search so that it's less overwhelming, it's more productive. And then of course I still do the resumes and the cover letters. And then I also help with LinkedIn, both using the tool as well as writing profiles. And then I help them with interview preparation. So I really wanted a name that encompassed the wide range of services that I offer job seekers of all industries. And so I just did rebrand myself in this August, just actually a week or so ago, as Edge Career Solutions. And I hired a local marketing company, Angry Cow Marketing, to help me to really bring my business to the next level. So it's actually been pretty exciting.
That is exciting. It sounds like you offer a great and much needed service.
I'm pretty busy. There's a lot of need out there.
So, and we do hear that people are having a hard time finding jobs these days. Why is that?
Well, it's funny. There are a lot of jobs out there. There's a lot of hiring. But if someone is having trouble finding a job, and many people are, it's usually because their resume is not doing its job. It's not selling them as well as it should, or they're using outdated job search strategies. So you really have to update what you're doing so that it really fits the needs for today's job market.
And what are some of the other most common mistakes that people make when they're seeking a job?
A lot of it is just they write the resume for themselves. They don't even try to address what you need to do today is address the needs of the employers. And you can't just sit at home looking on your computer for jobs. That's not how to find them anymore. So you really have to get out and do face-to-face networking. You really need to sell yourself. You need to make sure that people know what it is that you offer an employer.
Right. So why should a job seeker hire someone such as yourself?
Because it is quite competitive out there. In addition to the people who are in transition or in between jobs, there's also a lot of confidence in the job market right now. So people who are employed with a secure job are looking for something more rewarding. So that means even more people now are looking for the few openings that are out there. Right. So you really need to sell yourself well. And it's hard to write about yourself. Resumes are not easy to write. The hardest one for me to write ever would be my own. But as an outsider, I'm able to objectively look at a job seeker's experience and skills, assess their skills, and then help them articulate that so that they can really show the employer how they could add value to their organization. And I do provide ongoing support because you don't want to, a resume is only one piece of the puzzle. You really do need to know what to do. You need to develop a workable job search plan that's structured and baby steps so it's not so overwhelming. And you really need to do your homework on the companies and you need to prepare for the interview. So I try to help them with all of that.
That's great, all-encompassing.
All-encompassing.
Well, sticking with the resumes for a second, how are resumes different today than they were, say, a decade ago?
They are very different. Your resume used to be your autobiography. People would put out, this is everything that I've done and this is what I want to do next. Well, these days, the employers don't care what you want. They really want to see how you can add value to their team. And today's resume is a forward-facing marketing document, so it positions you for that next job. So it's not your autobiography. You don't put everything you've ever done on it. When you look at each job, you try to find where are the achievements, because you don't just include your tasks of what you did at the job. You need to show how the employer benefited from you doing your job so well. So you need to either quantify or qualify your achievement. So you have to let them know either how well you did something, how much of it you did, or what the result was. And that's what really shows the employer that you have something to offer them. And you also have to work within the parameters of the online applicant tracking systems. If you don't get through that filter, your resume will never be seen by an employer. And actually, it's one of my specialties. I study applicant tracking systems all the time. I actually apply for jobs online to make sure that my resumes can get through. Just because you need to have the proper formatting as well as the keywords to show that you are very qualified. But one of the most important things that people don't do is they just try to have a generic resume and they send it to everybody. You can't do that. Your resume has to be targeted towards that specific position, and within the first 3 or 4 sentences, that employer needs to see that you have something of value to offer them. Otherwise, they won't keep reading. So I just always recommend people target your resume to the job for which you're applying.
And so we can assume that someone who uses a professional resume writer, their resume is more likely to get noticed by an employer, I would assume. So why is that? Why do you think?
A lot of it is training and experience. I've written over 1,000 resumes and they work. My clients get jobs, they get interviews pretty quickly. Mainly because I know how to work within the technology. I know what the employers are looking for. I have experience in the corporate world where I helped in the hiring process. I was Assistant Director of Career Services at Eastern Connecticut State University, and I worked directly with employers. So knowing what they want, I'm able to help the candidates target the right jobs and then help to express to the employers what it is that they can offer. And it's just, a lot of it is positioning. You have to really position yourself for that job. So you have to, I'm trained in all the best techniques, and what I do is I share all that with my clients. I teach them how to look for the jobs successfully, where to find them, how to reach out to people, because you have to be creative and you have to be a detective sometimes to find them. And you have to get out and do face-to-face networking. And a lot of people are really new to that, so I train people in that, and we do mock interviews. We try to do every step of the way. I try to help them, to guide them through the process so that they will be more successful.
So you clearly love what you do.
I do.
But so what makes you different from other career coaches?
A couple things. For starters, I reinvented myself in my mid-40s. I was in the corporate world, not very happy. I had done that all my life until I realized I really wanted something better. And so I did. I took something, I had been doing resumes on a volunteer basis for years and had worked for some nonprofit agencies. I made it into a business, and now I love it. And since I know what it's like to have a job that you love, I try to help my clients find the same satisfaction. And one of the things that I pride myself on is I really take the time to get to know my clients. If someone lives within 100 miles of me, I like to spend a good 90 to 120 minutes together in our client intake session, because we can really meet face to face. I can really get to know them. The better I get to know them and figure out exactly what it is they've done, where they're going, what they want to do next, I can really help sell them better. And I also write all the resumes and cover letters myself. And no matter how large my company gets, I always want to keep that direct contact with the clients. I do not use subcontractors. I do the research myself. I meet my clients myself. I actually do, all the writing. I do have some people that help me behind the scenes administratively, company-wide, but I do work with clients myself. I belong to Career Directors International and the Professional Association of Resume Writers. So every month I stay current on all the trends. I take continuing education. I just try to figure out what's going on out there, to stay with it. And I love what I do and put everything I can into my clients.
Well, it definitely shows, Trish. So what about the client who's not just changing jobs, but interested in changing careers, or possibly out of necessity having to change careers in today's world out there? What are some recommendations you have for that person?
Well, the good news is that you're not limited by what you've done in the past. And because the resumes are the forward-facing documents, it's never been easier to position yourself for that new direction. What you need to do is highlight your transferable skills and literally tell the employer how that will enable you to be successful in their job. And so the way the resumes are structured today, we really can do that. And that's actually one of my specialties, since I did that myself, actually, and that's where I find some of the most satisfaction, is helping someone find something that's more rewarding.
Great. I've recently done some interviewing of my own because the chamber has grown to the point where I need to add some staff. And I was surprised that of all the people that I interviewed, not one asked about benefits or salary. Is that a taboo subject to bring up in an interview?
It is. It's considered very bad form. When you go in the interview and if you're asking about the salary and benefits, you're just indicating to the employer all you care about is what you're going to get out of the relationship. What you need to do in an interview is show them how you can add value to their team. If the employer brings it up first, fantastic. They put it on the table. You can talk about it. But you really don't want to be the first person to bring it up. And you should really know what the salary range is. If the job posting doesn't have that, a lot of them don't, you can use online salary calculators to help you determine what the market rate is, what the range, so that you'll know that you are applying for the right type of job.
And what if the interviewer asks you what level salary you're seeking?
Again, you want to have done your research up front, so you don't want to, give them a figure that's too high or too low. A lot of times they'll use that information to figure out if you're at the right level. So you can give them a range. Just have to make sure that the high end of the range won't totally blow you out of the running. But that also at that low end, that's number that you could live with in case they did come in at that low number. So a lot of times what I tell people, you look at the range, if there's like $25,000 range, pick a range within that, right around the middle area. Just, you have to do the market research, know what you're worth, know what your skills are worth. It's not what you need, it's not what you want, it's actually what you're worth.
Right. Is it true that most jobs go unadvertised? And if so, how do people find those jobs?
They say up to 80% of the jobs are not advertised externally, and that's because the employers don't want to deal with strangers. They don't want to put a job posting out there on those large job boards because they can get flooded with like up to 3,000 to 4,000 resumes, and they need to go through all those. That's why they use the online tracking systems to filter out the most qualified candidates. So the best strategy to do is get away from behind your computer. I mean, do spend some time researching companies online, but do not just spend time on those job boards because most of the jobs aren't there. If they're there, they may be very outdated or they may not actually have been real jobs in the first place. So you should make a list of the 20 to 30 companies where you really want to work, and there's lots of great databases out there. The Department of Labor has a good one, so you can research companies in your area, make a list of where you want to work, and then try to identify the right people and get in front of them. You can use LinkedIn for that to identify people working at your target company. You also can find out from those people what it's like to work there to make sure it's a good fit for yourself. And then you want to do some face-to-face networking, like places like even like the Chamber of Commerce meetings. It's a great way to meet people at the company and find out what it's really all about and to get yourself out there and have your little networking pitch. So when people ask, what do? You can have an answer.
Right. And that must be what they refer to as the hidden job market.
It is. If people try to just go online and search for the job openings, they're going to find a small portion of them, and generally not the best ones. But if they go directly to the company's websites, they might be able to find a lot of the openings. But also that's why you want to make connections so that if an employer has only released a job for, internally for employee referrals, that's how people will let you know where the openings are. So you need to get to know those employees.
Now, job seeking can sometimes become a full-time job in and of itself. So do you ever recommend to your clients that they quit their current job so they can spend time on trying to find their dream job?
Not usually. People generally, they have the bills to pay, they need that money coming in. Unless they're completely miserable, I usually suggest develop a workable job search plan, and I can help people put that together. We have structured steps to take the logical steps, and you can do it in a moderate enough time that you can really do it around a job search. You can also use LinkedIn. That can help quite a bit. Don't do it during the day at work. That's bad form. But I really think you should be able to conduct your job search around your full-time job. I mean, if someone's completely miserable, then yes, they should get out of that situation. But you never know how long it's going to take you to get a job. Right. So if someone's not in the situation where they could go a month or two without a salary, then I would not suggest that they drop their current job.
So what do employers really want these days? What are they looking for specifically in a candidate or on a resume?
Employers really want three things: someone who can do the job, someone who really wants to do the job, and someone who's going to fit in with their team. They want someone who's going to come in and bring the skill set, be able to contribute day one, but also get along with the people. They don't want anyone who's going to come bring any drama. So that's what you really want to emphasize on your resume. In addition to your skills and your experience, you have to bring some passion. Let them know, why are you so good at your job? Why do you really want to work for them? And then let them know you have to play up your likability factor.
So how do you help someone who doesn't have a long job history? Maybe they're new to the job market, or they've been a stay-at-home parent for a number of years, or maybe they've been fortunate enough to be in the same position with the same company for 15, 20, 25 years. How do you help them to write a resume that's meaty and that's going to get noticed?
Each of those are a little different, but it's all you can overcome all of it. If someone's young, they're just coming out of college or something, they wouldn't have a whole lot of experience. In that case, we'd play up on their potential. And you can play up any leadership roles that they did have in school. If anyone is an athlete, employers love athletes. If they were like a president of any club, captain of their sports team, that kind of thing is very helpful. And also just even good grades. It just shows that you can pursue, achieve a goal that you've set for yourself and deliver what's needed. If someone's a stay-at-home mom or dad, parent these days, either one could be home. I always tell people, first of all, own that, be happy about that, to be proud of it. Do not apologize for that like some people do. You were home doing something great. But you have to let people know that you did employ a lot of the skills that they're going to need on the job, whether it's conflict resolution, budget management, time management, trying to get everything done on time.
Right.
There's a lot of those skills.
Organization.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, running an entire household, a lot of that can carry over to the workplace as well. And if someone's been at one job for a long time, it's always great if you can show some progression over the years. Not every company gives you new increased title, because if they change their title, they may have to give you a nice salary increase.
Right.
So a lot of times people over the years just assume additional responsibility. You want to show that in your resume, that as you were there, you continued to grow as an employee, you contributed at higher levels as time went on, you took additional responsibilities. There's always ways to show that, but you're right, each one of those situations is very unique.
And one thing we haven't talked about yet that's almost as important as the resume is that cover letter. What kind of advice do you give to your clients about writing that cover letter?
I tell them you have to send one every single time. No one likes writing them. For me, I much rather write a resume or LinkedIn profile than a cover letter. But a cover letter is important. You do hear that some people out there don't read them, but you as a job seeker do not know if your recipient is someone who likes them or doesn't like them. So you have to err on the side of caution, and you must send one. Because if you don't, then the first interaction with the employer, you're looking lazy. Even though the ad says, send the resume, well, that's a test. They know that any serious job seeker will send a resume and a cover letter. And it cannot be a generic cover letter. You need to really tailor it to that job. Let that employer know you really want to work for them. And another reason is your first writing sample. It's a lot of jobs, and almost every job, you do need to write something, whether it's reports or emails or just any kind of communications at work. You need to show them you can put together a cohesive sentence.
That's a good point.
And so I just tell people every single time, you must send a cover letter.
And what's your feeling about sending a thank you note after an interview? Is that kind of old school these days?
It may be old school, but it's common courtesy. So you really have to. Many employers use that to weed out candidates. If they brought 10 people in, and if, just say, 8 of those people did pretty well, if only 7 of those people sent thank you notes, then odds are that last person would not even be considered going forward. Again, people want to work with nice people, so you have to show common courtesy. And it's also a great opportunity that if there's something you don't think you clarified well enough during the job interview, or if there's something that's really important you really want them to remember about you, because remember, after the fact, the employers may forget which candidate was which, if they interview a lot. Remind them something special about you, or something specific you talked about during the job interview. So it's just a great way to really trigger in the hiring manager's mind that you would fit right in and that you really are eager for the job.
Drive it home in that thank you letter.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and then at the end of each interview, there's always that inevitable question, do you have any questions for me? What advice do you give your clients? What type of questions should they ask in the interview?
They always should prepare at least 5 well thought out questions. You can't go in with 1 or 2 because odds are the employer might have answered those during the interview and then you'd have nothing. So you should come up with at least 5. Do a little homework on the company up front. Spend some time on their website. Find out what current challenges they're going through. If they're going expansion, or if they're a merger or something, or are there any challenges, any issues that they're trying to overcome, any new programs they've rolled out. Because as soon as you ask questions specific to that company, then the person knows, wow, they really wanted to work here. They did some homework. You can also use it as an opportunity, just like as in the thank you note, to reiterate something, repeat something you may have discussed earlier during the interview, but maybe you didn't answer as well as you could have, or you just thought of something great, like you really wanted to add on to that, or if there's something that you really just wanted, like the final takeaway. And it's very important. And there's one great question. If you're interviewing not with HR, but with the direct hiring manager for who you'd be reporting to, you can just come out and ask them. So, what would your priority be for me in the first 6 months on the job? Because that right there is showing them that you're seeing yourself in the role, so you're getting them to see you in the role. And of course, every manager wants an employee that's going to make their life easier.
That's a good point.
But the worst thing in an interview is just to say, like, I don't know to a question, or if they ask you any questions for you, it's like, nope, I'm all set. It just ends it right there.
Yeah. So you say that you can help job seekers at all levels across all industries. How do you market yourself?
Well, a lot of it is word of mouth. I mean, some clients, they find me online. I have clients around the country, they'll find my website. I use a lot of social media to get out there. I share helpful job search tips every day. But most of it is word of mouth. I just make sure each of my clients love how I help them, and then they send me a constant stream of referrals. They're sending me their friends, their colleagues, their children, which is fantastic. And then I do a lot of face-to-face networking, like at the chamber events. I've made some great connections with the Simsbury Chamber, and I recommend that all business owners, use that opportunity to get your name out there, because we're all giving each other referrals, and it's great.
Thank you. So should we expect any other changes for Edge Career Solutions coming up?
Yes, I do have one new initiative I'll be rolling out later this fall. It's going to be an ongoing job coaching series. It's going to be conducted via conference call. So people will be able to call in, expect 2 calls a week, probably 1 during the day, 1 in the evening, where people can ask their specific job search questions. Because I've found one of the most important things to a successful job search is the ongoing support. So I always tell all my clients, if they're frustrated in their job search, pick up the phone and give me a call. Odds are I can tell them something in a quick conversation that might, either fix what they're not doing correctly or just give them some new ideas of something else they can incorporate. Because when it comes down to it, I want them to be successful. If they're successful, then I'm successful.
And that sounds like you're filling a much needed hole that isn't being filled right now. That would be great.
It is, and I find it very rewarding. There is nothing more exciting when I get a telephone call or an email that someone just landed a new job.
Yeah,
it's
great.
It's very rewarding.
Is there anything else you'd like us to know?
Just that, a job search is really scary. Why go through it alone when there's someone who is trained on all the best practices and tips and someone who likes doing it? I like writing resumes. I call myself a resume nerd. I mean, I love it. I'm good at it. My resumes, they work. And it's just, why go through something painful alone if there's somebody that's eager to help you? Right. And professionally written resume has very good return of investment. Usually a small investment in yourself up front, and you can get a salary increase, $15,000, $20,000. So it's great. And so if anyone's looking for a more rewarding job, just give me a call or go to my website, edgecareersolutions.com.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us today, Trish.
Thanks for having me.
It's been very informative. I'm Lisa Gray, Executive Director with the Simsbury Chamber of Commerce, and this has been Trish Thomas, owner of Edge Career Solutions. Thank you for joining us.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.